Hello friends, my name is Akshay and you're watching Devotional Study. Today on Devotional Study we are going to cover the Firebase CRUD operations next part. So here in this tutorial I'm going to cover all the basic criterias like insertion operation, delete operation or read operation. In this tutorial we are going to cover all like CRUD update, all the CRUD operations. Without wasting time, let's get started. So guys, as you can see, I am in my Firebase console, and here in this tutorial, I will be creating as you have already seen in the last in the last video that what form are we going to cover. So I'll just quickly open the form here, right, and I will show you. This would be the form. Here you can see it's a simple table where we are going to add new employees data, or we're going to delete the data, and there are multiple operations we're going to cover in this tutorial, and we can see all the data coming up in the table format here, right, in the tabular format, and it will be real time operation with the database. So what do you mean by real-time operation? So as soon as I delete the value or add the value, it will be available in the database, right? So I'll go back to the editor what I have. So I'll be using the WebStorm here. So you can see I have the index.html ready here. So I'll not be covering the UI part as I said in the earlier video. So in this video we are going to cover only the JS operation, only the JavaScript operation. So without and if you want any code, if you need the code of this particular operation, you can let me know in the comment section. I will surely share the link in the description. All right. So as you can see, this is the index.html file what we have. So do not forget to add these scripts, because that is the this is a very important script where we are going to connect our Firebase app. So this is the Firebase JDK I have added, and I'll be using database. So I have only added Firebase database here. We're not using any kind of authentication, or we are not going to cover any function, right? So we're just simply adding the database here, and then we are initializing it. So by doing this way, why I have used this way, because there are multiple ways in order to add the Firebase SDK. You can use the CDN as well, which is available obviously in your Firebase project. So this way is basically you don't show your API key to the user in the console, right? If you want to hide that, if you want to work on the production environment, you need to use this kind of script. All right. So it's a very basic as I said, it's a very basic operation what we are doing here. So in the UI section I'll not be covering the design part because I have already designed it anyway. So you can see here I have this table here, right, where I have added this heading, and then we have this table where the data would be dynamic in the T body, right, in the table body the data would be dynamic. So here I'll be using the ID as employee table. The data ID would be, the table's ID would be table 1, and similarly we'll be using multiple IDs and forms. So I'll make you aware of all those things, and you must have seen we were using the model here. So you can see the model. I have added the model here. So we will cover all these part, right? So let's start by adding the JS file here, right? So we'll quickly add the JavaScript file. So we will name it as crud.js. Don't forget, don't forget to include this file at the bottom of your page. I have already added, so we will just cover, what exactly would be the content in this file, right? So let's simply start by adding the table reference. So in the table right now in the database, I don't have that table. So I'll be calling the table employee table, right? Because this is the employees data. So I'll be calling the table employees table here, right? So I'll just quickly create a variable or the reference of the table. I'll call it emp-ref equal to firebase dot database dot ref. All right, so here I need to give the reference of the table. So I'll be calling the table as employees. All right, so I'm sorry, the spelling is wrong. So I'll just quickly correct that. Yeah, so this is the the reference of the table. Now, what I want when I load the page, whatever data is there, in the table, it should get displayed on the page right away, right? So I'll just quickly type an operation, a window dot onload operation, right here. So one more thing I need to tell you one more thing I need to tell you, while doing the code. So I have added this jQuery minified version of the jQuery file, the library. So we'll be using some of the jQuery you know uh, code here. All right. So I'll just quickly create a function where I'll be calling few things. Like I want to initialize the app. We'll be creating these functions and will display, I want to display the employee data, so I'll just call it EMP. I'll be using camel casing here. All right, so this is the display. We'll be using the display EMP data here. All right, so I'll quickly close this section. I'll save it. And now let's create the Firebase, I'm sorry, let's create the function, what we call it, init app. All right, so we'll just quickly create the init app function here. I'll be doing, I'll be creating an event here. Okay, where let's see, so document dot get element by ID. So I'll tell you what would be the ID here. All right. So I'll be adding a listener, the event listener here. And what would be the listener? There should be some kind of a function or any kind of a listener, like it could be an event where I'll be clicking, right? So I'll just quickly add the click event here. Okay, I'll be using click event and I'll give the name as add new EMP. All right, and it would be false initially. Okay, so what would be the the ID of this particular event? So from where I'm getting the ID? So I'll just quickly show you. I have used this ID here. So you can see there's a button, right? What we call it, add button. So if I go to the UI, all right, this is the button, add new employee. So on this event, all right, when we are clicking on the add new employee button, there's a model and then there's a add button here, right? So you can see the value is add. That means we are binding the event to this button here, add button. All right, so that's the reason I have created the event listener here initially. Okay, so the ID would be add emp. That should be the ID of this particular event. All right, next thing what we are going to do, we're going to insert the data. So I have given this name as add new emp, right? So initially we don't have the data available in the database, so let's create a function here. We call it add new emp. All right, and we'll just add by, we'll get the values, because what you can see here, when we click on this model, we have a few input boxes like name or email or address or phone number, right? So we need to get the value from this particular form in the model, right? So I'll go back to the model what I have created. So on this ID we are calling the model here, right? You can see the model is coming up. So let me open the model. So I'll just quickly show you. There's a model. Okay, this is the model, right? So this is the model what we are using. So if you guys have any issue, let me, I guess, let me increase the or extend the size of the font here. I'm not sure where how can we do it, but let me check. Okay, guys. So what I did, I just changed the theme. I tried, changing the font size by going here, but I don't think so. It's helping me out here. So all right, it's better than the previous size. All right. So without wasting time, so where were we? Yeah. So what we were doing, we were adding the employees, details. So this is the model what we are using in order to add the users detail. So we'll be using these IDs like inputs ID and employee ID. Here you can see the name. I'll be using this ID. For email I'll be using this ID. Similarly the other fields. So let's quickly get the reference out of these fields. So I'll call it name and then equal to document dot get element by ID. All right, and I'll just quickly take the reference of this field dot value to pick the value. Similarly, I'll do for rest of the fields what we have. All right, so as you can see, all right, okay, I have used these fields, right? So I'll be using one more field. So I'll be taking the timestamp of the current timestamp I'll be taking, all right, just to create a unique value, all right. So a new date, that is the object dot get time that we'll be using here. Okay, so now we will create the employee ID. Okay, for every employee there should be a unique ID given to them so that we can differentiate among multiple employees. So I'll be creating an employee ID here by using some special keywords. So I'll be using EMP initially. So this is the initials what we'll be using for every ID and timestamp. You everyone would know the timestamp would be different. All right. Each time you create an employee, you will get a different timestamp, and by using the timestamp, you can create a unique ID. All right. Okay, so here, as you can see, I have created the employee ID. I have got the employee ID. Now we need to add the value. All right. I'll be using EMP ref, the reference of our table. So the table name is employees and the child would be employee ID because every employee would be having a unique ID. All right. So we'll be using set function in order to attach the values, all right, with this event. So I'll quickly give the field's name here, name, email, and address, what we have, all right, and okay, pretty cool. So address we have added here, phone, okay, and similarly we need to add the employee ID as well. Okay, we will be saving the employee ID in the employee ID field. Okay, so these are the fields we are going to create, and here at the bottom what I'll do, I'll just quickly use some jQuery features. Okay, okay, all right. So val function I'll be using, and I'll just take the reference out of these fields. Similarly, I'll be doing for rest of the fields too. So I'll be using the similar code. All right. So you can see I have created this add event. Let's try it out or check whether it's gonna work or not. So in order to do that, we need to initialize our project. So we'll just quickly add Firebase init. Okay. So Firebase init, yes, we'll say yes. So yes, and then database is required, right? And hosting. All right. So we'll be using hosting. Okay, so the project name is this one, the demo project we'll be using. Okay, let's skip this file because not we are not going to use the rules. I accidentally use that option. So yes, it's gonna be public directory. Yeah, no, all right. So we're not going to rewrite all those files because I guess it's not rewritten, right? So okay, this is what we have here, project public. Okay, we need to move this file to and this file here inside this. So we'll replace the files because it was not added before. Let's quickly check it out. Yeah, we are good. Okay. Uh, oh my God. All right, we need to use the public folder and then index. Similarly, okay, these two files we are working on. All right. So quickly we will going to check whether it's working or not. So we have added the project. So we'll just quickly initialize our local host by using Firebase serve command in the console. Okay. So we've got the Firebase local host ready. So let's quickly launch it. Firebase localhost. Okay, it's working. So let's try adding, new fields. Let's see what happens. So I'll just say Akshay, email a at gmail.com. Anything you can give because there's no validation applicable right now. So just give test123 street. All right, and phone number, any random number you can give, anything, right? There's no validation here. So I just clicked on add button, right? Let's see whether our data, okay, it's there. It's available in the database. But what we have seen is there is no, we didn't get any data here in this screen. So we are going to cover this part in the next session. So till then, keep coding and stay tuned, guys. Bye bye.